Hey everyone, and welcome to Isms by Josie. Today we're going to be doing a knitting how-to video. For my returning subscribers, thank you so much for tuning in, and for my new viewers, please consider subscribing, share, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and click on that notification bell for future videos. So you guys, with the holidays coming up, this may be a little too early for Thanksgiving, but we still have Christmas to go. So today I'm going to be knitting a wine koozie. It's a buttoned bottle cozy, and it takes place of a gift bag, because normally when you buy bottles of liquor or wine, you can get different kinds of bags to put them in, but they're usually just, if they're paper bags, mylar bags, they're pretty standard, and sometimes you want to go the extra lengths and make it super cute. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to make this sweater. It is a pattern that I got from Red Heart. If you do not know Red Heart is a name brand for some yarns that I love to buy and that I've collected over the years that I'm trying to get rid of. I will leave a link for this pattern in the description box below, but this is LW2696EN, and it's considered like a fairly easy pattern. If you are a super beginner of knitting, this may not be easy. This might be hard. I remember I found this years ago. We're talking about decades, and when I started doing this, I was like, huh, what? I don't get it. And then over time, I just had the pattern by memory in my head that I made a bunch of these. I actually knew I had this. I sent this to myself via email. I haven't done these in a very long time. So I knew I sent it to myself a long time ago, and thankfully Google saves all of that stuff, so I was able to pull this back up again and then look for it online. So again, I will leave that link in the description box below so that you can firsthand see all the instructions, but it's basically gonna look like this. Very cute. It's gonna have a nice collar, it's gonna have buttons, it's gonna have cabling, it's going to have pockets. I love the pockets because you can slip in the you don't want to go fancy on a wine stopper or a wine opener. Sometimes when you buy the bottles of wine, some places, and I used to work at one, some places will just give you for free the plastic wine opener, and it's like this big, and it's got a hole on top of it. But anyway, you can take those cheapo ones, slip it in the pocket, slip a cheapo wine stopper in the pocket, and it'll still look very fancy and look more than what you actually spent on it. So all in all, if you buy like, over here it's like an $8 bottle of wine, at least for like the somewhat higher than cheaper ones. And then what is it, like, could be $3 for a spool of yarn, a needle if you decide to keep it. So that's it's gonna be around like $20-30, and if you get the buttons too. So it's not a bad gift. It's reusable, and it's such a novelty. I would give this out on holidays all the time, and it's not that expensive of a gift, and but the reaction is like, oh my gosh, this is like the best gift ever. So anyway, we're gonna start this. Some basics that I'm going to teach you are just how to get this onto the needle. These are like, this is my old needle, and you can tell it's like all bent and stuff from me like just stepping on it over time. Because I would leave my stuff around all the time. I was knitting since, college. Crocheting since I was little, but knitting since college. So, it'll tell you what you will need. You can follow this. I just grab whatever I have. You make do with what you have. So this is suggesting that you get a red heart holiday. You can go on their website and look this up. 1 ball of 01360 Aran/gold. Knitting needles is 4.5 millimeter or US 7, which is exactly what I have. I have so many. It's just coincidental that I have this one because it's short enough to almost fit in the frame. I personally like them a little thicker, but you know, it is what it is. You need a cable stitch needle. Let me go and grab that. I forgot that actually. So I'll show you what that looks like. When you get the cable needles, you want it to match the same measurement as the needles you're using. Otherwise your cables are going to look fatter and weird, or skinnier and weird, you know, depending if you go up or down. But anyway, this tension gauge, I mean, this is just to tell you like how much you have to, like if you did 27 stitches, it should measure 10 centimeters. I mean, you don't have to go. I mean, if you really want to be precise, you can do that. The gift with this cozy sweater is that it does stretch. It's like any cable knit sweater, it has that give. So if there's no way you can make it super tight unless you use like a really tiny needle, which would be insane. So I don't think you would do that. Hopefully you don't. So we're gonna follow all of these instructions and I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, so you can tell what's a cable stitch needle is because for a regular needle you'll have one pointy end and another end with like this nub or a flat circle at the end. A cable stitch needle will have points on both ends because you'll have to use it to slip in and out of the stitches, and I'll show you how to do that in a bit. So first things first, a lot of people who know how to crochet will do like a crochet needle and loop if you've seen my previous videos before. Some people don't have crochet needles. You don't have to get one to start this. What you can do is, this is how I kind of started. So I'm going to hold my thumb and pinky and ring finger on one end and use my index finger and middle finger on the other. And you want to like have enough for some slack here because I'm going to go up under. I want to pull some and then I'm gonna twist it like this. So you want to come up under and twist it so you get a loop. And just one more time, we're gonna come up from underneath, get more slack out of there, and we're gonna I guess point your finger down to where you get a loop. I'm going to insert my thumb in here, and then I'm going to just grab the top. So from that twist, grab the top here, and we're going to want to pull it through that loop. So now we have a nice loop here. Now I want, you know me, I like to have less excess yarn. There are two ways you can go about it. So if you're a beginner, let's just do it this way. Yeah, so pinch the end of the yarn. There's so many ways you can hide excess yarn, but just for less step purposes, just pinch the end of that yarn and start closing this knot close to that pinch. That way we'll ensure that there's as little excess as possible. Just keep feeding it through and pulling. And once you get close to your thumb and your index, this is what we have. You can pull the end to make sure that it's tight. Not too tight, but tight enough that it won't come undone. So now we have this huge loop, you guys. And don't worry about that, because what we're going to do, take your 2 needles, put it together like so, put the loop around the needles, and then I want you to grip the knot here and pull it up. Pull it up and pull this one out. So it gets closer, 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 closer to the 2 needles. Not too tight. You still want it to be loose so you can move these needles around. So it should look like this. Okay, you guys? Alright. So that's how you get started, believe it or not. So if you're at this point, great. If you're not, pause it, rewind it, do what you need to do to get this to this point here. We're going to set this down and I'm going to read the instructions to you guys, because to be honest, like I said, I haven't done this in years, so I really don't remember. I don't really remember what the instructions were. I used to know it by heart. Okay. So in the special stitches, it's just going to tell you what some abbreviations mean. And we'll get to that when we reach 3/3LC. We'll get there when we reach M1. We'll get there when we reach SK2P. You don't want to like, this is going to take, for a beginner, I would say many breaks. So this could take days to make. If you're an advancer, you could probably punch this out in one day, but it's just a lot that you really probably would take a ton of breaks. At least for me, I would do that. I binge watch movies, and if I know it by heart, I'll make one during a movie or something. Okay, so now it's talking about the cozy. I'm zooming in for you guys. This is a real zoom. Love it. Okay. So for the cozy, it is telling you have to cast on 40 stitches. So that's where this bigger projects get you. Like, I know I did the mini series with all the little animals. Those were tiny. That didn't take much. 6 stitches at most, right? This one is 40. So we're going to have to cast on 40 stitches. Now, let me teach you how to cast on a stitch. So you have your 2 needles here. You want to take one in each hand, like this. Oops, and that totally fell out. All right. And you want to have the yarn on the right side. Okay? Then when you have the yarn on the right side, I like to grab, you know, like I did with my crocheting, I like to grab a good amount of yarn. Just keep wrapping it around your finger. So we have to cast on 40, right, you guys? So the needle that's on your right hand, you want it to be behind the left. So we don't want to see this, because then that would be for lefties and you would have to put the yarn on the other side. But since we're doing this for righties, just keep the right needle on the back, left needle in the front. And, you know, leave a comment below, you guys. Let me know if you would like to see lefties. I did say that I was going to do the animals again in using my left hand. If you're really, I actually can do my lefty in crochet better than I can do my lefty in knitting. So, but I'll figure it out. Leave a comment below if you want to do a lefty video for this wine sweater. Okay, so now that we have this, to cast on a stitch, casting on stitches typically is a knit stitch. So a knit stitch is always from behind the yarn, right here. See, it's behind with this needle behind. A purl stitch is in the front, and you'll have the yarn in the front like this. But yeah, so when you cast on stitches, it's typically a knit stitch. So get your notebook out, write that down. But yeah, so we're gonna cast on our first stitch. You want to take the yarn here and you want to yarn over. The instructions sometimes will say YO for yarn over. And then what we're gonna do is we want to have a gap between these two. You see that nice gap? So what I'm gonna want to do is skip this needle over this yarn to make sure it stays there. See that? Now it's trapped because I closed this over it. See that? Closed it over it. Doing it over and over again. So you see what I'm doing here? Okay. And as you're doing that, your hands are going to be like this, right? But I want to show you sideways. So what you're going to do is you're going to lift. You're going to start lifting this up towards the end of that right needle, but watch it from the side. As I'm doing that, you want to take this point and make sure you pull with your, it's a lot of moving parts, I know, but while you're moving this up the end, the excess, you want to pull, not super tight, but tight enough to where you can slip the end of this needle through this loop. So like I said, you'll be doing it like this, flat, but I'm going to show you sideways. So you're going to want to slip it over that top there, and then you're going to want to pull it through that loop. If you have to hold the loop like I do, at least for the first one, go ahead and do it. But you see I pulled that through. And then you pull it out like this. And you slip it on to the left needle. And we just cast it on a stitch. So that's what they mean by cast on. So you guys, I'll do this again. Maybe 3 more times so you can get it. But yeah, so this is always going to be, the right needle can slip in and out because we're going to use it to cast on. To cast on the next stitch, we're going to want to stick the needle onto the last stitch you just cast it on. Slip it behind. Again, you want your right needle behind, left needle in front. You have your yarn behind as well with your right needle. So we're going to yarn over YO over that right one. You want to make sure that you lift the left needle over the yarn right here so that it's locked and loaded. And again, you're going to be looking this way. I mean, you can look this way if you want. It just feels uncomfortable. So I think just doing it like this is fine. But we're going to pull this up and we're going to slip it over this right needle. But I'm going to show it to you from the side so you see what's happening. This right needle is going to go through this loop and it's going to bring this yarn with it. So slowly I'm going to do this. Pull it through the loop here. And pull it out. And you see we have another stitch. We're just going to slip that onto the left needle. And now we have 3 stitches on here. We have 40 to do, so you're definitely going to be practicing. And this is a good practice too, you guys. You want to make sure that you, I'm going to show you when we have more stitches what it should look like if you're doing it nice and even. So again, we're going to do this 2 more times, you guys. You're going to take your needle and slip it through this last stitch. Make sure you kind of get in there. You don't want to like get it inside a yarn by accident like this. Nope, that's not good. You don't want to get it into the other yarn. Nope, that's not good. You want to get it right there in the middle. Stick your needle through behind the left needle, of course, and you want to make sure you have your excess yarn behind with the right needle as well. We're going to yarn over, you guys, YO, and then we're going to hop the left needle over the yarn here. See, that's so easy to see. Hop over that, make sure you get it locked and loaded in between there. And then again, we're going to pull this up over this right needle, and we're going to pull it through the loop. So let me try doing it flat so you can kind of see what it should look like. I always do this, and sometimes you shouldn't, because sometimes it'll hurt, especially when you're doing a million and you're doing it tight, and plus it'll mark up your finger. But I like doing this. I'll put it here just to make sure it doesn't slip all the way off. And as I'm doing that, I am pulling this taut, and then I'm going to fish it through the loop here. And I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to slip it on to the left needle. And so now we have 4. Let's do one more, you guys. See how we have this stitch here? You're going to want to put your right needle through this loop, through this stitch actually, behind the left needle, the excess yarn behind with the right needle. Then we're going to yarn over YO, and then we're going to hop the left needle over that yarn so we get it locked and loaded. And then I'm going to, I put my finger here, you don't have to, but I do it just to make sure. Pull on the excess yarn here, make it nice and taut, and we're going to push this needle end through that stitch. And I'm gonna tilt this over so you can see. I pulled it through. I'm gonna pull some out there, and then we're gonna slip the left needle onto that stitch. So now you have 5 stitches, you guys. Now, if you feel that you need to do this over with me, rewind it. You can keep the stitches on there. Just keep going. If you're more comfortable doing this with me, 40 stitches across, then just, you know, keep rewinding it and playing it. But otherwise, I am going to cast on 40. 40 is tough. You can either count 40 straight and not lose count, but typically that happens, especially when you have people talking to you, or you're talking, or you're watching something. You can always go back and count it like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, until you count 40. So you guys just do this with me, and we're going to cast on 40 stitches, so we have 35 more to do. Good luck. So don't be shocked if this is a little too fast. You can always slow down the video with, there's a gear on like the 3, there's either a gear or 3 dots. I think it's just the gear. You click on it, and it'll be like playback speed or video speed or something. You can go fast or you can go slow. So I'm going to do 35 more, and I'll probably just count out loud. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35. Okay, so we should have 30 stitches on here. This is what it looks like when it's kind of tight together. So you see these knots here, they should be nice and uniform. And the loops should be nice and uniform. When you start out, it might be different. You might have loose loops here. You don't want it too tight, you don't want it too loose. But just to make sure that we have 40, I'm going to count 40 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Okay, so now you're like, well, if this is supposed to be the width of that sweater, it's not fitting anything, isn't it? Well, here's it spread out. Spread it out. And then you're going to say, listen, even spread out, it's not going to fit around a wine bottle. The magic is crazy when it comes to knitting. I told you this has a lot of stretch. So once we start building the rows, keep building and building the rows, I don't know, I guess the loops get smaller, because right now the circumference is around this needle, but I guess the stitches get smaller, so it spreads out wider. So trust me. Like sometimes I will freehand any like basic pattern to make something, and then I'll just cast on like, oh, this looks like enough. And then when I do the next rows, it's like way too big. So yeah, we're following a pattern, so that's not going to happen here. But I'm just saying, don't be too worried if this looks like it's like not even the length of this phone spread out. It will cover a wine bottle, trust me. Okay. So now we're gonna do row 1. And if you've seen my crocheting videos, I told you that there is the right side, wrong side. So this side is row 1's going to be the right side. Don't mind me, I'm just doing this because I like to have a lot of yarn on my finger because I'm insane. My aunt used to tell me, like, what are you doing? And like sometimes I would cut off the circulation of my finger. You don't have to do it weird like me. I'm sure there's other people that do this, but I just do it because I hate having to keep grabbing for yarn, you know. Okay, so right side. So basically the right side is going to be the side where the little excess here is going to be on the left. So that's how you're going to remember. But you can always remember in crocheting and knitting because the right side is going to be the prettier side. And I'll show you what I mean when we get further down some rows here. So what they want you to do is do a slip. A slip for the first stitch. See, it's slip 1. That is easy. So what you're going to do is you're just going to put your needle into the first stitch, and you're just going to slip it over to the right needle. It's just a slip. Nothing special there. Okay, K4. So K is always going to be knit because knit is K-N-I-T. So K stands for knit. So they want you to knit 4. So we're going to stick our right needle here into that next stitch. Okay. And then we're going to, you know what? I did this wrong. Sorry. The yarn that's in the back, put it in the front. That's one of the things that they don't tell you when they do these things. If we went forward with the knit, the slip stitch would be gone because you're going to be pulling it back through this stitch and you'll just lose this one. So the way that you have it, sorry, like this, how I always say that the yarn should be behind, consider this slip stitch as a purl. So what you're going to do is just swing your yarn under and around so we have it in the front now. Okay, and then we want to cut it off, so we just put the yarn between. So we just came from back here. We're going to swing under and over. We're going to go between the 2 needles, and then we're going to come back. So this ensures that this stitch won't get lost. Okay, now we can knit 4. So stick your needle into the stitch. All right, we have the right needle in the back, left needle in the front. We have our loop around them. Now we're going to yarn over YO, and we're going to do the same thing that we did when we cast it on. Hop this needle over that yarn, so now we have it locked and loaded, and then we're going to slip it up towards the end here and pull that needle through. And then we're going to see this, we're going to slip it off. So there you go. Now we have our second stitch. So we slipped one, that's this one. We knit one, that's this one. And now we have to knit 3 more for K4. So we'll do it again. Stick the needle into the next stitch, yarn over, YO, keep it taut, hop over that yarn, get it locked and loaded, and then push it up, and then pull that needle through the loop, and then we're going to slip this one off. It's a little more complicated than crocheting, but knitting for me is faster. I feel it's you can go fast with crocheting, but it's faster and you don't have to look as often. So we just slipped one, knit 1, knit 2. We have to knit 2 more for that K4. So again, put your needle into the next stitch. We want to yarn over, hop over that yarn, get it locked and loaded, pull it up, pull the needle through that loop, and then we're going to remove this yarn off that left needle. And so now we made our 4th stitch. We did our slip 1, knit 1, knit 2, knit 3. Now we got to knit 1 more for this K4. So you're going to put your needle into the next stitch. Right goes back, left goes forward. You want to yarn over, YO. Then you're going to want to hop over that yarn, get it locked and loaded. Then we're going to slip this and pull it through that stitch. And then we're going to slip this stitch off the left needle. Okay, so now we have our slip stitch, knit 1, knit 2, knit 3, knit 4. Easy enough. Now the next step is purl. Notice that there's an asterisk next to it. So from asterisk to asterisk, we're going to repeat this all the way to the end, to the last 3 stitches. So here's the last 3. So we're going to follow this instruction from asterisk to asterisk over and over again till we get to the last 3. And in the asterisk it says purl 2, knit 2. So this is going to become a repetitive stitch pattern, and that's why knitting gets fun and easy. It's the problem is to make sure that you have the right count. So you really have to focus a little bit to where you don't lose your place. So I'll show you how to do the purl 2. Like I did with the slip stitch, you see how you have your yarn in the back? This time you just want to come over from back up to the front. So you see that action here? Let me do that again. Your yarn would be here. Now we're going to swing it back up and towards the front. So this gets locked in place, right? Now to purl 2, the way that we put this into the next stitch from the front to the back, that's a knit. Now when we're doing a purl, doing back to the front is a purl. And you can tell because it looks completely different, right? So this is what we've been doing this whole time. Back to the front, that's a knit. That's going to be a knit stitch. Now, to do a purl, it's back to the front. So we have back to the front, right? Purl is the time where your right needle will be in front of the left needle. So it's backwards now, right guys? Because I said knitting, you always want to put the right needle behind the left, but we're doing a purl. and that's right needle in front of the left. So how we do this, we have our excess yarn here. For a purl, we go up, back, and around. When we did knitting, it was back and around to the front. For purl, we're going to do back and over. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to keep this and we're going to push it through this stitch. So it's pretty much the same thing as knitting, except we're kind of doing it backwards. So you want to push this through, and you want to make sure that the needle goes through that stitch like that. And then, like we did with the knitting, we're just going to slip this off the needle. And we just made our first purl stitch. Congratulations. The yarn is in the front, so that works out because we got to do one more. So you're going to stick the needle again from back to front on a purl stitch like this. Then for a purl stitch, we yarn over from back and around like that, and then we pull the needle towards the back, going through the stitch like this, and then like we did with the knit stitch, we just slip this off the left needle like that. So we did 2 purls, and look how weird and different it is. We have this nice 4 set up, and it just kind of like naturally wants to break off on its own. It's because we did 2 different stitches. So it's going to give it a nice look to your sweater. So now we have to knit 2. So here we will swing this yarn back, because like we said, when you knit, you always want to keep it in the back. And then we go back to sticking our needle from front to back like this, because we keep our right needle behind the left needle when we do knit stitches. And this time when we yarn over, we go back and around, as opposed to the in the front swing around to the back. That was a purl. We're going to do a knit stitch one, so you yarn over back and around to the front. We're going to hop over that yarn, get it nice and locked and loaded, and then we're going to pull the needle through that stitch and slip off the stitch on the left needle. So we just knitted 1, we have to knit 1 more. Let's do this again. Yarn over, hop over that stitch, get it locked and loaded, you can check this way, and then slip it through that stitch. So now you guys, we have our slip stitch, our knit 1, knit 2, knit 3, knit 4, then we got our 2 purl stitches, and you see there's kind of a difference now because we knitted these 2. And now we have to repeat the purl 2, knit 2 all the way to the end until we hit the 3 here. So guys, I'm going to walk this with you one more time, and then I'm just going to continue it till we get to the last 3. So purl 2, like I said, we have to pull the yarn around to the front on a purl stitch. Then we're going to stick the right needle from back to front on the left needle. Then we're going to yarn over from back and around, and then we're going to pull that needle through the stitch like this. and then we're going to slip that stitch off the left needle. Again, purl stitch from back to front, yarn over from back and around, and then we're going to slip that through the stitch and then let go of that stitch on the left needle. We purled 2. Now to knit 2, we're going to go switch our yarn from the front to the back. Then we're going to stick our right needle from front to back to do 2 knit stitches. We're going to yarn over back to the front, get that locked and loaded, and pull through that stitch, and then let go of that stitch on that left needle. Again, front to the back, yarn over, then get it locked and loaded, then pull through that stitch, and then slip it off the left needle. So we have our slip, we have our knit 1, knit 2, knit 3, knit 4. Then we have our purl 2, knit 2, purl 2, knit 2. Okay. So hope you got that, you guys. You can always rewind the video and do that over till you hit to the end. But I'm just going to go ahead and repeat that purl 2, knit 2 until I hit the last 3 stitches. Starting with the purl stitch. Two, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so I have the last 3. Getting this done. See, now it's like we've got all those different patterns now, so it's looking a little weird. Don't worry, the more rows we do, you'll see the picture so much better and it'll be nice. So to the last 3 stitches, knit 3. So we're already here with our yarn in the back. So we're going to stick our needle front to back, yarn over, pull that through, slip off the stitch, then front to the back, yarn over, pull that through, slip off the left needle, one more, front to the back, yarn over, pull through, let go of the left needle, Now you have no more stitches on the left needle. So this is what we did, you guys. And this is going to be the right side because we have the excess. So now what knitting usually does, because it's always going to be the stitches on the left needle, we're going to have to flip it like this. And that's how we get our stitches back on the left side. So now these are all the stitches that we're going to use on our left side. We can take our right needle now, which was the former left, and we stick that into our first stitch. Well, let's see what it says first before we do that. So we just completed row 1. Row 2 is going to be a slip 1. So from the back to the front with the yarn in the front, we stick this right needle in. So back to the front, yarn in front. We're going to slip this now off the left needle. Slip that first stitch off the left needle, and we were going to return the right needle to the back, left needle to the front, but we still have the yarn in front. So now we have an asterisk of knit 2, purl 2, and we're going to repeat this over and over again till we get to the last 3 stitches again. So how we do that, because we're starting with a knit 2 this time, if you see a knit, you have to then take this yarn and move it to the back. So in between those 2 needles, back and around, and that's going to keep that stitch in place. So now we can knit 2, front to the back, yarn over, locked and loaded, pull through the loop, slip off the left needle. You gotta do 2 of these. Front to the back, yarn over, locked and loaded, slip through the nute, pull it through the loop, and then slip off the left needle. So we have our knit 2. Now we're going to need our purl 2. We're going to get our yarn back to the front. That's going to keep this stitch in place. We're going to back to the front, yarn over, pull through the loop, slip off the stitch on the left, back to the front, yarn over, pull through the loop, slip off the left. So now we did 2. Now we gotta put the yarn through the back, and we have to knit 2. Front to the back, yarn over, lock in place, pull through the loop, slipped off the left. Front to the back, yarn over, locked and loaded, slip through the loop, slip off the left. Okay, one more time, you guys. We're going to put the yarn back around to the front. Then we're going to do back to the front, yarn over, pull through the loop, slipped off the left. Back to the front, yarn over, pull up a loop, slip off the left. Okay, so now we've done slip stitch, knit, knit, purl, purl, knit, knit, purl, purl. So move this yarn to the back. I am now going to just keep repeating knit and purl till I get to the last 3 stitches like we did previously. One, 2, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so we, oops, did you see that? If that happens, don't freak out, don't move, try to get that needle back on through those stitches. Alright, so we have our 3. Okay, so to the last 3 stitches, knit 3. So that's easy. We'll put our yarn to the back, front to the back, yarn over, pull up a loop, let go a stitch, front to the back, yarn over, pull up loop, let go of the stitch, front to the back, yarn over, pull up a loop, let go of the stitch. So we have our second row done, you guys. Now, remember what I told you? Let's pinch the end of the needle here. Do not let this go. Let's spread out this. So we were saying how like it wouldn't fit around a bottle of wine. I'm not even stretching this to its max. And look, it is like, it's probably going to be almost double the width. So you can, I've done this pattern and was able to wrap it around a champagne bottle. And you know, sometimes those champagne bottles, they're a lot bigger than the wine bottles. So like I said, this is gonna go a long way, these 40 stitches. And again, we're looking at the right side here. I just, you know, I flipped it over again because we want the stitches on the left side. And we have our little excess on the left side as well. That means right now we're looking at the right side, prettier side. Okay, so I'm gonna do these last 2 rows and then I'll probably call it quits. This is gonna be, because this is already an hour long, and just look at how much we have to do here. The body is gonna be like a 2-3 parter for sure, and then the bottom is gonna be a separate video. And then there's pockets. This gets funky, like I really didn't understand it, so I did my own thing, but let's see when we get to that part. But yeah, let's continue as I blow this up super big. Let's continue with row 3. This is the buttonhole row. So what we do here is we're going to create a buttonhole on one of these sides so that when we attach the buttons, we have something to, you know, slip around that button. So again, we'll have our stitches on this left needle, and we have a right needle. This is telling us slip one. So what do we know? We're going to do from back to front, but we're also going to keep the yarn in front as well. So we're going to stick the needle from back to front, slip it off the left needle, and then because we're going to start with a knit one, we have to put the yarn around back to make sure this stays in place here. But we're going to knit one, and that's front to the back. Then we yarn over, locked and loaded, pull through the loop, let go on the left needle. Now we yarn over. So yarn over, basically around in front like that, and then we're going to knit two together. So did they explain this, what knit two together is? No. So let me explain what knit two together. Knit two together is basically how it sounds. So this yarn over will take the place of the knit two that we knit together. So see how we yarned over like that? That's going to hold its place. And we're going to stick our needle from front to back, but I'm going to stick it in the front of the second. See, there's 1, 2, and the second, and then try to get it through both. See how I got both on there? Like that. Okay. We still have this in front because we did the yarn over, but I am holding it back. See how it's kind of like making up for that 2 that we're doing together? So knit 2 together is basically how it sounds. We take the 2 stitches, we're going to yarn over like we normally do, and then we're going to lock and load this thing, and then we're going to slip it through those loops, and then we're going to slip off the left needle, both of them. 1, 2. So even though that we slipped off the 2, we still have the 2 right here because this is the yarn over, this is the stitch. But see, it's gonna leave like a big hole. Doesn't look big right now, but it will. Trust me. Okay. So yarn over, knit 2 together, and a buttonhole is made. So now we have to knit 1 again, front to back. Yarn over, pull up a loop, let go on the left needle. So now we have an asterisk. Purl 2, knit 2, repeat from asterisk to the last 3 stitches. Okay, so we have to now put the yarn back to the front. Make sure that stays in place there. We're going to stick the needle from front to back, back to front, sorry. Back to front. It's a purl, so always back to front like that. Yarn over from back around to the front. Now we're gonna pull up a loop and slip that off the left needle. Let's do this again. Purl, okay, then we have to move our yarn to the back, and we have to knit 2, front to the back, yarn over again, okay. So now we have our slip 1, our knit 1, our yarn over, our knit 2 together, then we have our knit 1, then we have our purl 2 and knit 2, and now I'm just going to repeat purl 2, knit 2 till I get to the last 3 stitches. purl 1, purl 2, knit 1, knit 2, purl 1, purl 2, knit 1. Oops, you see what I did here? Got some of that. You can undo it by just taking the needle out. We're going to try this again. Knit 1, knit 2, purl 1, purl 2, 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 knit 1, knit 2. Okay, so now I have my 3 stitches here. It's saying that to the last 3 stitches I knit 3, so that's easy. 1, 2, 3. The more practice you get on this, the faster you'll be able to go. And I'm flipping this already so I can have my stitches on the left side. You see how much it's grown, you guys? We're getting there. Alright, last row we have to repeat row 2. So let's repeat row 2. Let me get some yarn. Okay. So you can tell this is the wrong side because our excess yarn that we started is on the right side. So you can tell because this side looks like chaos. There's not really like a pattern on here. When you flip it to this side, it looks a little more uniform. I mean, it'll start looking, you can definitely tell a difference when we get further up the rows. But yeah, so let's copy row 2 and then we'll be done for today. I know this is long, but that's how knitting is. Knitting and crocheting take time. So we gotta slip 1. So from back to front, we're gonna slip this off the left needle. And then we have to have our yarn go to the back to keep that in place. Okay, then we have to knit. Oh, we already have our asterisks So knit 2, purl 2, repeat from start, last 3 stitches. So this is going to be easy. We're going to knit 2, move the yarn to the front, we're going to purl 2. And you guys get to see what kind of channels are popping up as they're posting. Put the yarn to the back, we're going to knit 2. We're going to put the yarn to the front, we're going to purl 2. And you guys, a good tip, so I'm going to continue doing knit 2, purl 2 while I talk. So you can definitely go back to row 2 instructions and follow with me, or if you can follow with me now, you can change the speed. But yeah, so when you do this, you guys, you're going to want to just not be super tight with everything. You want to kind of relax. If you're finding that your wrists hurt, your joints in your hands hurt, then you're probably being very tense while you're knitting, and it really shouldn't be that way. It should be nice and relaxed. If you're starting to get a cramp, ask yourself like how long you've been doing this for. We've been doing this for an hour right now, so that's kind of expected. Maybe you have to take a break. If you're only doing this for like, I don't know, 15 minutes, then you're probably just a little too tense and should kind of just hold the needles loosely, you know. That'll also help you uniform your stitches, because when you are tense and you pull on the yarn, they could end up at different lengths. So if you keep a light hand, it kind of just naturally ends up being the same. And that's something I definitely had to learn doing while knitting. In the beginning, I was making my stitches so tight that it would be hard. You can tell, like, this needle would not be able to slip in as easy. I would have to force it. If you have to force it, you're making your stitches too tight, like in crocheting. I was holding the needle tight and not pulling very hard on the yarn so that I give myself some slack. But yeah, once you get that feel for it, it's going to be so easy to just flow through these rows. It's going to be not as painful. Like, I can sit for, you know, hours doing this, and over time, you know, your hands are going to hurt, your neck's going to hurt. Make sure you're sitting up straight. That'll definitely help. And if you do this for long periods, I guess lighting, so you don't strain your eyes. But to the last 3 stitches, and it says knit 3. So you see that yarn over? It's now there's a huge gap. That's the buttonhole. We're gonna do 3 knit stitches. And see how we've got that big hole there. So I'm going to flip this over so that my stitches are on the left needle, and this is the right side because we've got that excess. But look, you guys, I don't know if the camera is going to pick it up, but when you see those cable sweaters, it's doing those humps. It's, you know, I picked multicolors, so I think if this was a solid, you'd be seeing it better. But see, this is the right side and it looks nice, and this is the wrong side and I guess it kind of looks the same, but I don't think it's as pretty as this side. Okay, you guys, so this is rows 1 through 4. Again, if you would want, it's a free download. So I will leave a link in the description box below, and you can just click on it'll direct you to the website. You can download the free pattern. This is something I think everybody should have. It's a quick gift. Well, not a quick gift, but you know what I mean? Like, once you get used to it, you can just sit there on a weekend, watch a movie, and punch this out and have a good gift ready to go. Next video, we're going to be doing the body, and it's from here to here. That's a lot of steps, and then it's actually like, I guess, 35 rows. Or 30 rows, depending on how you look at it. 31. So we're gonna get to that. It's gonna grow substantially, you guys. So thank you so much for watching. Click on that notification bell to make sure that you don't miss this series. I also do nails, and you can also check the crocheting videos as well. This is Isms by Josie. Please share, like, and subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.